Hello, Doug here from the Hundredfold Journey. Thanks for joining us on this miraculous May interview. The Hundredfold Journey is about a group of people that are looking to find their true identity, and by doing so, finding God's true identity. And as you know, we like to come alongside of you to provide you with the tools, resources needed on your spiritual journey, and basically come alongside of you and encourage you and so forth. One of the ways we've been doing that are monthly challenges. So last month was April affirmations, and May was May mindfulness. Well, this month we decided to do miraculous May. And what we're going to be doing is focusing on the miraculous that have occurred in individuals' lives, whether it's our lives or even our hundredfold members. So speaking of that, we have invited Michael to share his story about how he has found his true identity and also talk about some miracles maybe that have occurred in his life. And in regards to miracles, it doesn't have to be anything extraordinary like walking on water or healing the blind.
Totally.
Just a life that is changed is a miracle, and breaking habits and so forth. So with that said, Michael, thank you for your willingness to join us
Absolutely.
and be an inspiration to other people.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a privilege. So just a little bit about myself.
So I'm sorry, just
Okay.
one more thing. So Michael just turns out to be my son.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
so he's my 26-year-old son, and so he uh, uh, he has a knack for understanding spiritual things, and we've had a lot of discussions in the past. So I thought he would be a really good person to share his story, and I think what you'll find is he'll be very inspirational to you. So Michael, sorry for interrupting, but go
No,
ahead.
absolutely. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Michael, and I'm 26 years old. Well, when I was a kid, I was raised to believe in God. No different than today. The only difference there is that when I was a kid, I was, there was this word repent that was always kind of in my ear. Not necessarily the word repent, but saying, hey, if you make a mistake, in order to, be worthy or, gain status, that I had to apologize, to God, which in my heart, I always wanted to, of course, apologize. But just the word repent kind of just was in the vocabulary. Well, actually, getting older, fast forwarding some few years later, I was 23 and I was at the beach and I was sitting there and I was going, man, God, why is my life so difficult? Why is everything so hard? How come I can't find the right woman to be in a relationship with? Why can't I do these things? Like, am I just going to end up, being nobody or nothing? And this huge gust of wind just came and hit my face. And I stood up and I brushed kind of the sand off of my shoulders. And I felt this instant relief of, I don't have to worry about anything, that everything is okay. All my needs are constantly met. There was no voice that spoke to me from the sky or anything like that, but it was just this feeling inside my body that was like, you know what? I don't have to choose to live a miserable life. I can live a good life every single day. So, of course, the first person I called up is my dad, and we talked about it, and I told him everything, about my life, and he told me about gratitude, living your life, being grateful. So I said, there's no way that's going to work. That's a bunch of rubbish. I just felt like, it doesn't matter if you're grateful or not, things are just going to turn out the way they're, going to turn out. Well, I started practicing the gratitude, and I realized that there was a lot of beauty in waking up in the morning with being grateful for things, being grateful for a shower, being grateful for there's a pot of plants outside of your, yard that's beautiful. Just being grateful for the small stuff, because I realized that if I wasn't grateful for the small stuff, that I was never going to be grateful for the big things in my life. And of course,
Just to be a little specific there, so the direction that I kind of took you was twofold, and one was a book called The Magic, which
right.
was written by Rhonda Byrne, and
Yep.
she's the author of The Magic. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
The Secret.
The Secret.
And
Yep.
in that book, it talked about being grateful for things. And that actually motivated me or inspired me to write the 21 Days of Gratitude,
Absolutely.
which, by the way, you can find on our website at
And I have actually,
the100foldjourney.com.
I've read that as well.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So basically that's in the morning, you have 10 days, 10 things to be grateful for. And then at night, you have a prayer reminder
Right.
that reminds you to think about the things that you're grateful for. So just a little segue
Yeah.
there, Michael, but that's what you were doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was doing. And I remember that I had a real hard time with it because I did feel like I was having to do kind of a chore, and that's my honest opinion, you know. But the one thing that opened my eyes the most was 1 John 4:17, you know, as I am, you know, you are as well in this world, you know. And that's one thing that opened my mind, because I never in my life ever heard that people would look at me funny if I told them that
Yeah.
Jesus is one with me. They go, you're being, you know, you're being too godly. And going and reading actual scriptures and actually absorbing it and seeing the truth, I realized that I am, you know, one with God. And instead of living, you know, you know, my life is terrible and I'll never make it, I just switched the thoughts. And lately, every day it's just been this thought of, you know, gratitude, and not, oh, my life is, you know, terrible and it's going down the wrong direction. And so the biggest miracle that actually has happened into my life was, you know, the day at the beach, where I realized everything I've ever needed is right there with me, and there's nothing I need to grasp. There's no, his love has already been inherited. So now, I'm not saying, you know, I'm better than anybody, and, you know, the people on the street, you know, that if they believe in a different religion, they're wrong, because it's not true. You know, Jesus teaches us that, you know, if we do realize and acknowledge that we're one with him, that we love everybody regardless of who they are. Because if you see who Jesus hung out with, you would in our eyes that would be looking terrible, but in Jesus' eyes there was no sin, you know, perfect people, and he used those people. And that's the beautiful thing, is that you don't have to feel like you have to do all these things to get somewhere, to get to heaven, you know, because it's already been inherited. And the miracle is, people say the second coming, Jesus is coming back, and he'll come back one day. But the truth is if you feel like he is with you consistently, then he is already here. And that's the beautiful thing
Right. The
that
second
saved my
coming, has already occurred, because
the second coming has
you've
already occurred.
discovered that he's in you already.
Yeah.
And that's like a second coming. It's like, oh, I forgot, you know, I forgot that. And now you've been reminded a second coming.
Absolutely. And I personally believe in the big thing is, well, the Bible says, you know, things about heaven and hell, exactly. But I do believe you do create what you want in life. Because every choice that you make isn't, you have to step on eggshells, but it is a choice that you get to make. And that's
Right.
incredible in itself. Just having the privilege to make choices and not be a robot and do this, you know, every day. That's what's beautiful. Struggles are beautiful too, because you can find that, you know, Jesus, you're not alone in that time. He's experiencing that with you. And that's the most beautiful thing. So the biggest miracle is just knowing and acknowledging that I am one with Christ, and that there is, all I need to do is rest in life. That's it for me.
Yeah, and then of course, you know, the miracle of that breeze coming on you at the beach, and just it was like, because the Bible does describe the Spirit as wind. In fact, that's the true definition of Holy Spirit, is holy wind. It's a breeze. It's the breath, if you will. So sensing
Yeah.
that.
And the beautiful part about that is that I know I live next to the ocean, and I love the ocean, and I believe truly that I am what I create. And where I go, you know, it's not, you know, it's not necessarily a place. I just know that when I go to the beach, I'm like more relieved. So I feel like that was the best place for, you know, the Spirit to absorb in me, and to, hey, you know, you're not alone, get up, brush it off, you know, you got this. So
Now, Michael, since I know you, you had another miracle on the beach.
Oh,
The
yes.
rescue, the rescue. I'd like you to share that story because that's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
So I wasn't gonna tell the story, but I'm glad you brought it up just because I like to be humble about it. But no, was it last year? I think it was 2020 that I was out on the beach. I can bodyboard and actually surf a little bit in the summertime, and I was out there bodyboarding. And out in Bodega Bay, there's some specific spots where you can't surf and you can't swim because the tide will take you out. And once you're out there and you're going to be stuck out there unless somebody comes and saves you. Well, I was in the part where it's safe to surf and it's safe to bodyboard. And I'm there with my girlfriend, Rachel. And this guy comes running up to me and says, my friend, he's drowning. He's drowning. We can't save him. We can't swim. And sure enough, I just started running. I picked up my board and I ran about half a mile, quarter mile down the beach, and I ended up pulling this guy out of the waves. He was pretty far out there, and I pulled him up the shore, and I patted his back, and he threw up all the water, and he was just fine. He took a gasp of air, and he looked me in the eyes, and I think at that moment in time, I actually saw Jesus in him.
Yeah.
Because if we all are Jesus, then you know that you're looking at your reflection. So I saw that, and he looked at me, and then the helicopter came down, and I kind of walked away, and I didn't take the acknowledgement that I saved his life. People patted my back down the beach, but I didn't really want the fame, because I believe that there's times where we never even saw Jesus perform miracles. He even told people, don't tell anybody.
Right.
Don't tell anybody, let this,
right.
And for me, I felt that moment was like that. So there's a short video of me that you see me in there next to him, but I didn't get, the fame, and I'm totally okay with that, because it was something that I wanted to do out of my heart, and not for, the fame or anything. So
three things kind of stick out in that story. Again, back on our theme of the miraculous, is A, out of all the people on the beach, this guy came running to you.
Yeah.
And B, you sprinted, and I know I heard the word from Rachel is that you ran like she's never seen you run before.
Yeah.
Like you had a breeze under you that was giving you that extra speed.
No, I definitely remember running, and because I was in my wetsuit, and I remember running, and I'm like, oh, I'm there's no way I'm gonna make it. And all of a sudden, as I'm starting to get tired, my legs just started going, and then I started swimming in the water. And I honestly, it's kind of hard. I don't even really remember every step of that, but I just remember that I was tired, and then all of a sudden I had this energy, because I knew I was like, I have to run, I have to do this. And so I do believe that it was because I knew and I had confidence 100% that I could. There was no hesitation. I didn't sit there and say, ooh, well, I don't know if I can save him. That's not something that I could do. I just did it.
Yeah, I felt like instant, right?
And I felt like part of that wasn't me, but I also felt like that was me, because I do love people, and I have a heart for people, and I know that if I am one with Jesus, then that was, we can do anything,
Yeah, right.
Because it's not just separate people in you. There's not Jesus and then you. There's you, but the power of God and the power of the universe and Jesus is actually in you. All the creation and outer space, everything, that's all part of you. This is that's life experience. So it's not a separate people. You are experiencing life as a human, and also is God experiencing life through you. But that's the power, because if we separate and we go, oh, Jesus is here and I'm here, then we're separating each other from the power,
right, in our mind, right? Because if we think that way, then we're going to think about separation, right? And then that's what's going to be displayed in our reality. But if we know that we're one with him, then there is no separation, right? And we're doing it with him, as him, right?
And the one thing I do want to share that did actually open up my eyes, and I love my grandpa. He's an angel. He's the best man in the world, but he recently passed away. And I heard a little story that he was searching for heaven, towards the end, he was reading books about heaven, and maybe he was just curious. I don't know exactly, can't exactly say, but I just know that inside my heart that when I get to that age, I don't want to search for heaven. I want it to be here,
Right.
and I want to have confidence the day that towards my end of my time. I want to have confidence because faith is confidence in knowing, and so no, I just don't want to have any doubts or regrets, and I don't, and I know I won't. So
Yeah. So Michael, with me knowing you, there's another question since you brought up heaven.
right.
Is one of the other revelations that you've had is you had a fear of dying and a fear of death, and that
Yeah.
you overcame that, which basically just kind of
Yeah.
exploded. So maybe speak to that a little bit.
I think honestly, like when you really find that, I just really feel that the proof in knowing that I am one with the power of God is that Jesus had no fear. I mean, he wasn't afraid of dying. He knew it was going to happen, and there was no fear of dying. And I know that why should I live? I used to be afraid, and I was afraid because I was afraid that when I die, that my past was going to, you know, tarnish my name. That if I was going to die, that my past would never be forgiven, and that I would pretty much go to hell in my heart. So of course I was really scared of dying. Like I don't want to go to hell. But then I realized that you actually have to try pretty hard and create hell pretty hard to go to hell, because I believe that look around you. If you take every scenario into being heaven, then the fear of death goes away because you're already here. So, and some people go, oh my gosh, how could you say that heaven is here on earth? Don't you see all the bad things going on in the world? Don't you see the government and what they're doing and all this and that? And it's because you choose to pull that energy in, and any energy you pull into your mind and your heart is going to generate that.
Yes.
Our eyes pick up things all throughout the day, even when we don't think they do.
That's
Colors,
right. Yep.
colors, memories, pictures, whatever it is throughout the day, that's what actually creates dreams, is snippets throughout your day. So if you bring in that negative energy, all those negative things in the world, then you are already creating a hell-like world for you, and you're creating doubt, and you're creating fear, and those things are not fun. Now, am I saying that every day is going to be, you're going to wake up and, there's not going to be struggles, but it's how you, react to those struggles. You can react to those struggles and be like, oh, this is the end of the world. I'm never going to make it. Or you can say, hey, that's a struggle that I know I truly can overcome, because everything in my life is already taken care of. That struggle is only a struggle to either make me stronger or to show me that, hey, I don't need to cry over this, that I can overcome this, So I could, talk for years about, about this type of stuff. I just know that I feel like do a little bit of research for any beginners out there that are like, confused, and they're like, hey, I don't know if God's real, or you're in you're religious and you feel trapped in it, or whatever the scenario is. Even if you want to learn more about God, I always tell people the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You will find a lot of good stuff in those chapters.
Yep.
And you'll find a lot of good miracles in those. Also, I would also, recommend also reaching out to you, reaching out to people that, know about this stuff. But learning, I feel like learning has helped me a lot. Resting and learning, absorbing the information, and just sitting back and going, oh, that's right,
Yeah, meditating on it, right? Really kind of thinking it through, right?
Right. Not saying that you should take verses out of context or anything like that, but when you read a verse or you see a verse, I like to break them down. I like to go kind of word by word, because sometimes you'll read things and go, oh, well that's scary, but then you read it again and you're like, okay, that means what that means.
Right.
And also, people want to say, oh, the Old Testament and the New Testament, those that was also back then. We have the ability to actually write our own Bibles in our own lives these days. Like I've written so many of my own verses because I can create that. So I
Yeah, in
know.
fact, just to back that up a little bit, there is a verse, and I don't remember, but I think it's Paul calls us living epistles. And
Right,
an epistle is a letter written to the churches, and we are a living epistle, which means God's Spirit is in us. He's guiding and directing us, and we're writing, if you will, our own story,
right,
and we're living epistles. So just like we're doing testimonies about miracles, that's an
right.
epistle. We're hearing the epistle of Michael and his encounters with God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I really do actually encourage, if you're having a bad day, just write something down. It doesn't even have to be on a piece of paper. It can be in your phone. Just write something down and and I really have discovered that writing is a really helpful tool to, let out, what you feel. Because everything that you touch prospers, right? That's one of the 10 truths. Everything you touch prospers. So everything you say also can prosper as well. Everything you think prospers. Everything you feel inside your heart prospers. So when you talk about miracles and you talk about God and you talk about life, let that flow naturally. Just let it flow naturally. For me, I never wrote any of this down. This is all free style coming from my heart, from incidents that happened. I just want to share one other miracle, and this was when I was actually a kid.
Okay.
I was 10 years old, and I was visiting my uncle and aunt in Washington and my cousins, and I took an airplane all by myself. Or no, sorry, we drove from Shasta all the way to Washington. I took the flight back by myself. But anyways, I'm in Washington, and my cousin Jacob is really good at riding bikes. He can do jumps on bikes. He's just very athletic. And I remember being like, I want to do these jumps with him. And so he gets me a bike, and we're going down.
He's like 8 or 10 years older than you,
Yeah,
right? So
he
you're
is.
10 and
Yeah,
he's like 18 or
he's
something, right?
he's like 17 or 18. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's older than me,
Yep.
about 7 or 8 years. Anyways, he took me up this really big hill, and at the bottom of this hill there's this river, and it's pretty far from each other, but there's this jump that you can make over the river. And so Jacob says, okay, well, I'm going to go down this hill and I'm going to hit that jump on the river. Don't do it. He said, avoid it. He says, don't follow what I do. And so I saw him, he goes down the hill and he clears that jump. And guess who does it too? Right? So I'm going down this hill, and I realized I didn't realize how steep the hill and how much speed I was catching. And right before the jump, I decide, hey, I want to put on my brakes, but the brakes don't work. And I go flying into the river. My face and my body smashes into the rocks. And I get up, and everybody's looking at me, and I get up and I feel like, whoa, what just happened? And Jacob gets off his bike and he's like, okay. And I look at my body and I look at myself, not one scratch, not one scratch, not one broken limb, not one nothing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I went flying, and I remember to this day, I'll never forget how hard I hit those rocks. I thought I broke something, but not even a scratch on me. And I just felt like looking back at that, I truly felt that, I was protected. I was taken care of. If you have the power within you, you know that, you're protected and taken care of. And it's just one of those things that I just, I can't even explain till this day. That was just an incredible miracle. Definitely, because
I forgot about that. That was a while ago.
yeah, because I know that it could have been very wrong. I could have hit those rocks and went downstream, and that would have been it. But I got up and everything was okay, and people asked me if I was all right, and I wasn't sore the next day, not even a scratch. And it was just one of those things that you just can't forget,
Amazing.
So
all right, Michael. I think that's about it. Any last comments or?
No, my favorite verse from the Bible, and I think a lot of us have like our own favorite verse, is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And it's trust in the Lord with all your heart. That means acknowledging and knowing that he is one with you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own acknowledgement, which means don't look at the physical you. Don't always look at the physical. So it's trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not into your own acknowledgement, but in all your ways. That means acknowledge all your ways,
Yep.
right? Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not into your own understandings, but in all your ways, trust in him, and he will lead you to the right path.
Right.
So,
Yep. Absolutely. I love that. Love that verse. One of my favorite as well.
all right.
All right, Michael. Well, hey, thanks again for your time. For those that are listening, there is a link down below this video where you can go to our website, which is the100foldjourney.com. And in there, you'll find lots of tools and resources. There's some challenges in there. The 21 days of gratitude that Michael talked about, that's in there. 21 days of identity is in there. We also have a Sundays with Doug study that we're talking through freedom from religious bondage. So anyways, that is, all of those resources are up there for you. And of course, if you have any questions regarding this video, this will be posted on Facebook as well as YouTube. And if you have any questions, just post those on the Facebook or the YouTube chat. Okay. So Michael, thank you very much again.
Thank you. It's a privilege. It's an honor. Thank you so much for having me on here again. Like, 100-fold, you can determine how much, fruit you want to
what the yield
consume.
is.
Yep. What the yield is.
Yes,
All
exactly. Right. So you were an inspiration to many people, but you're also made me inspired and very proud to be your dad. So thank you for sharing that.
Love you. I appreciate it.
All right. Love you too. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye now.